Hi madam, welcome to the South End Guy Paranormal channel. Hi everyone, great to have you back with me for a Monday night vlog. First things first, I'm going to give a shout out to one of my subscribers I bumped into on Sunday while I was going shopping in outside Iceland. Other supermarkets are available, of course, in the Grand Supermarket. Please forgive me and my manners, I didn't get your name, but you know who you are, and great to meet you. Probably our paths will cross again, I've no doubt. So yeah, it's always funny to you know, when I've been out and people recognise me from the channel. It's quite something. Yeah, I suppose a bit sort of getting used to. I think, you know, for all the other things I've done, what with the shakedown and other bits and pieces. It's funny to get sort of recognised for that. You know, I'm not out there to get recognised or anything, but you know what I mean. Just to get spotted for the things you do. So yeah, once again, big shout out to you and your missus. It's great to meet you. And anyway, just going to go straight onto the content for this week, and that's because I'm revisiting Billy Jasper again, and we're going to look at how much probability, or how much of the probability that his story can be believed. And this is like a follow-on from what I've done a few weeks ago, where I retraced the steps of the shooter, the Mr. D that he named. So yeah, that's what's coming up this week. So you can get my thoughts. Obviously, share your own, you know, and by all means, see what you think of what I've got out of all this. So hopefully, what I'm going to look at after the Billy stuff, I might go and revisit the bit. Well, actually, I will go and revisit the Billy Jasper thing. But what I'm going to try and do is, obviously, at the moment it's August. We've still got a heat wave. What I'm likely to do is wait until the winter time, and I'm going to retrace the steps of Jasper as close as we can get them to that evening. So it'd be night time, weather be coldish, dark, you know, so on. So what I'm going to look to do is re-follow that line that Billy Jasper did, right up to the point of where he dropped Mr. D off, and then we're going to take it from Mr. D's perspective. So as I say, but it'll be a very different situation. As I pointed out a couple of times before, the main reason I did the Billy Jasper route during the day was there was a lighting issue there, so that was the main thing. I'm wondering, with the new cameras I've got, whether the night vision would be beneficial, but I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Yeah, so that was the main reason one of the reasons I did the Billy Jasper route during the day, because of the visual perspective of lighting and so on. And the same reason why I did the route of Mr. D, again, because although obviously from more realistic perspective I could have done it at night, and I will do it at night, but from a visual thing, doing it during the day, you can see everything. You can see the landscape, you know, more or less the route they would have taken. Now I'll accept that the route I took for Mr. D maybe might not have been 100% correct, but the distance was. The distance wouldn't have been out by more than a few metres, whether I went from where I did or slightly further up Rectory Lane. But obviously the difference between now and 25 years ago is, you know, there's a few more buildings and stuff down Rectory Lane. There's not a lot, I think, but that's the main thing. 25 years ago, I don't know what buildings were there and what weren't. Consequently, if there was another gate he would have crossed when there wouldn't have been something there, whereas in 2022 there is, if you get what I mean. But the important thing is that from a distance perspective, there wouldn't have been a lot in it whether I went from this point or this point, and the route would have been broadly the same. The only difference would have been, if he went in for further up the road, it would have been a more as the crow flies route. So in actual fact, it could possibly have been slightly quicker. But anyway, as I said, I've got a few things to talk about this week regarding Billy Jasper, and then I'll look at the route as a whole, from hopefully a scenario as similar as I can get it to what happened in '95, and then we can sort of make a full conclusion of Billy Jasper and his story. And then following on from Billy Jasper, I've probably pointed this out before, I want to take a more in-depth look at Darren Nicholls, you know, try and suss out his psychology, you know, who he got on with, who he didn't, that sort of thing. I think we can all grasp, you know, where we're coming from on that, but I want to take a nice in-depth look to it to see how his mindset would have been at that time. Because as we know, when I've done the two paranormal investigations, and we'll include the Tracy Cam clip from the second one, there was a level of anger directed at Nicholls, and if I got the response right, it was him that was the finger was pointing at him to who'd done the shooting. That's what I got. That's what I took from that. Now, of course, there's still people out there saying, "Oh, you know, Dan's pussy, you know, weren't there or whatever." Fine, that's your opinion. You know, there's plenty of armchair detectives out there. There's plenty of armchair psychics. I'm not a psychic or have abilities, I know that, but I'm not at that level, not as yet. Hopefully I can be at some point, and I'm taking steps towards that, which I'll talk about in a minute. So, yeah, I'll briefly go back over that. As I said, there was a lot of anger towards Darren on the first investigation. On the second one, although I choose a different communication method, it's one that I've used several times before and I've come to trust. Although we couldn't sort of give over any level of anger, the only level of anger we got was when we turned up that night for the second one, and both Mark and Julie both said that they were picking up on a lot of anger from Pat. Now, whether that was just because I've come back to try and get some communication again, or whether it's because of what happened to him or who done it to him, combination of the whole lot, I can't tell you that at this point in time. If and when we go back and do a last paranormal exercise, then we can try and glean that. But as I said, there was a level of anger that come through on the first one directed at Darren. The second time, using a different communication method, the finger was pointed at Darren, and not only that, but with Tracy Cam on the second one, although I uploaded that as a separate entity, as I have done with Tracy Cam before she started Moonwalk. I got that EVP that come out and it said "fuck you, Darren." So, I mean, even if it transcribed that Darren didn't pull the trigger, why is that level of anger directed to Darren because when he turned Supergrass, you know, his story was he wasn't even there. He just dropped off Jack, and then a couple of minutes later he drove back off again with Jack and Mick. He didn't even go down lane, he was at the top of it. So that's his story. So if that's his story, why would there be any anger towards him if he wasn't even at the scene? He was just the guy that drove away. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So to get all that stuff that we got come through suggests at the very minimum Darren was there that night. So yeah, you know, as I said, if he wasn't supposed to be there, why is that all anger directed towards him? So that suggests to me, at the very least, he was there. So you know, I'd like to see in my lifetime the truth come out my wash. As with a lot of us, we'd like to see Myki released. We don't, you know, when you think of all the real scumbags that have been in prison who have actually committed murder and so on, and they've been released, and you know the kind of people I'm talking about, to keep Myki in there stinks. And as I've come to discover from doing this investigation over at Liquid Bullets at the moment, they're going to be doing something as well with another murder in Southend, where another guy that was innocent has been sent down. And when I've done the Thorpe Bay murders, the guy that pulled the trigger should have been done for manslaughter, not murder. He got done for murder, he got given the rope. Our British justice system, I look at and think, I used to really admire it, and now I think there's so many fit-ups, miscarriages of justice. So I think the only good thing we did was drop the death penalty, because there's so many people inside that were innocent of carrying out murders. Do you know what I mean? If we'd still had capital punishment, they'd have been given the rope. So, yeah, as I said, me and myself and a lot of others out there, you know, we'd all like to see Myki come out alive and not in a fucking box. Excuse my French. And that's not me, you know, Myki's no angel, we all know that, but for this crime he's innocent. Anyway, yeah, as I say, I'm going off a little bit of a tangent regarding the Rettenden content. I'm going to, just quickly regarding Rettenden, I am actually going to take a couple more visits up there, not related to the Essex Boy murders, but there's a couple of other places which have allegedly got activity. Hopefully I intend to check them out as well and see if any of the stories are true. So watch this space on that level. Yeah, so moving on to psychics. Now, as you know, I work with a few now, notably Paige, and so we will work together again. It's just catching a point when all of us are not so busy, because her stuff's taking off, and you know, my bits and pieces doing whatever, you know, and obviously working with Adam as well for Paranormal Essex. Trying to get stuff done. I do feel, you know, I know where they're at because they've got young families and things. I was there once, so I know how time consuming all that can be. But as I said, we'll work with Paige again at some point. We'll look forward to that. So what I've also been looking at is bringing in other mediums as well. Now, last Wednesday there was a psychic there was a psychic evening at a place called the Balmoral Centre in Westcliff, which those that live local should know it. It's just like a community centre where, you know, have different things go on, and I went along. You know, obviously doing what I do, it's a natural interest for me, but it was also a good chance to talk to the lady Karen that was sort of hosting the night, and obviously was doing her own talk, and you know, letting people's relatives come through and that. And on that evening she said that she's got a friend who wants to come out and do the paranormal side of it, and it's a lady by the name of Claire. So on Saturday I went to an event they had in Rayleigh, and I got introduced to Claire. We had a lovely chat. She's a very nice lady, very down to earth, and I think she'll work well with myself and obviously Tracy and Myki. I think we will get on very well. So looking forward to bringing Claire on board. Hopefully there will be another psychic night coming up at the Balmoral. I'm going to have my own little stall there, just sort of showing off what I do as an investigator, and hopefully be able to invite other mediums and psychics along as well, so we can mix it up a little bit. but it would be, it's felt that's the one thing that could be helpful with what we do, particularly if we come across spirits that are stuck and we can help them. So yeah, looking forward to that. And also something I've been looking at and on my own path of discovery is where I'm at on those levels. Now I already have the ability to sort of empathic abilities whereby I can pick up on emotions and energies of some of the sites that we go to, and you know, and I can and have tuned in. If you watch Ramsgate last week, again I'll apologise for the quality of the video footage because it wasn't great, but the situation there would have made it hard for me to film and do what I did at the same time. But that was an example. But the whole Ramsgate tunnel as a thing actually was where I was picking up on what was going on in there. And as I said, I don't consider myself on that sort of psychic level, but I do pick up on things. So for me it's now going to be in a case of learning how to sort of step up and maybe invite more skills in. And also something else I've learned that I'm going to be looking at doing Myki as well. I have had very little experience of doing a bit of healing, but for me it's more of a case of added protection for my team members, because we always practice, as you know, when I do a paranormal session, we always open and close with a prayer. So we make sure we open and close, we shut down right. We don't overstay our welcome, we don't try not to piss anyone off, spiritual or otherwise. Yeah, those that are still here are a bit easier to piss off than those that have crossed over. But you know what I mean. As a discussion I was having with Karen was that it'd be a good idea for me to be able to practice a higher level of protection, so that nothing happens to my team, or they take stuff home and it affects other people, if that makes sense. Because energy is a funny thing. It can, you know, you can have positive and negative energy, and you can sort of pass things on, and that's it. I'm trying to describe it the best I can, but yeah, that's what we're talking about. So yeah, so I mean, two things for me in my own personal development will be to train my own abilities so I can go further, and to learn how to do Reiki so I can help do protection as well as you know, maybe improve my healing abilities. So yeah, it's who'd have thought this 2 years on, you know. When I started this back in 2020, as those of you who started with me know, it was a sort of went out as a bit of a, you know, let's see if I can get the shit scared out. I mean, it'd be good content, you know. And 2 years later on, I'm learning how to do things that I never thought possible. Well, it's always been there, I suppose. I've always had that thing that it's there, but now I'm actively working to bring those levels up. But it's all good. It's all positive news. Now, filming wise, I haven't actually got out again this weekend because I was at a party Saturday night. That was needed. Let me head down, have a good laugh with some friends and have a few drinks. You know, sometimes you've got to do that. You've got to let yourself go a bit, and then you can sort of start afresh. So yeah, this weekend gone. I didn't really get a chance to do anything, but I will be getting back on the case as of this week, even though I've got work on Saturday night. It's local, so I'm thinking I might nip out quickly and have a check of a couple of other sites. Regarding editing, I'm pretty much caught. I'm down to my last two bits of video. One being Redoubt Fort. We revisited that place, largely due to, it was a bit of a punt, largely due to the extended dry spell that we've had, we thought it'd be a good idea to see if we can get into the front section, and lo and behold it was clear, so I've got to start editing that as we speak, and then I've got some stuff from Pluckley as well, because we did go back, well, not Pluckley itself, the little village just up the road where St Mary's, the bombed out churches, so I've got a bit to do there. Yeah, so that's where we're at right at the moment. Yeah, that's literally the only bits of content I've got left at the moment to edit, so yeah, do really need to get out and do some more. I'm even going to look at doing some covering some stories, because I've read one or two things that have happened in Southend which have made international ripples, I suppose you could put it, but I'll let you know more as that comes up. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I've been waffling long enough. As I say, this week content wise, back to Rettenden for Billy Jasper. Actually, Sunday night bonus content, I'm going to have a chat about my Saab, because I haven't done that properly yet. And yeah, next Monday's vlog will be a live one. So if you want to come and ask me some questions, I've got my new tablet, so I'm hoping that's going to help me deal with questions and stuff. That's one of those I've got it. Alright, I'm waffling, sorry. Thanks very much everybody. See you later. Bye bye.